Hello, and today I want to talk about something amazing and fun that you probably have not heard anywhere else before. Love at first sight. What is love at first sight? Well, of course, you know my channel is about quantum physics, about manifesting, about soul connections. And sometimes we meet someone, especially like a soul connection, and we click and we have the feeling we know them for forever. That can happen, of course, with friends as well, even with pets. Honestly, I've had that with my cats. But why do we have love at first sight? And again, it can be the feeling of knowing, so it can be romantic, but also with anyone else that is dear to our heart. What happens? Now, before I talk more about this video's topic, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Janine, and I have been coaching people on their soul journeys since 2005, so I'm very experienced when it comes to coaching. I am a licensed life coach, Ho'oponopono coach, hypnotherapist, and astrologer. Also, I am a psychic medium, and I am someone who has specialized in guiding people together in their soul's journey. It is my mission to give everyone the love that they deserve. So if you're interested in that, check out my other material, and also, of course, you can reach out for personal coaching. But now let's get back to the video. Well, I used to believe, like probably many of you, that we know them from a past life, and I still believe it, but different than I used to believe it. I used to believe that reincarnation, it was more like I was born like in the 14th century, then the 15th and the 16th, and I'm even a hypnotherapist. So I have guided people to past life regressions, and of course myself as well. I have seen like past lives where I've met souls that I met in this lifetime, just in a different body. But now I believe that that is no longer true. What I now believe is, well, there is ultimately only one soul on this earth, as Neil Donald Walsh also states in Conversations with God. That one soul split into all of the fragments that we are as humans to experience every different outcome. Imagine we wouldn't have any counterparts to interact with, then it would be absolutely boring on this earth, right? So we need other people in order to learn something about ourselves, to interact, to communicate, and to grow, and all of that fun stuff. We also learned that time is an illusion, right? So there is not the 14th century that is like 600 years ago. It is in the right now, because everything has already been created. And let's take it even another step further. As Neville Goddard said, everyone is you pushed out. That matches what more and more physicists believe, that we actually live in a hologram, and what is real is our assumptions. It is not assumptions, our consciousness within ourselves. That is reality that then is projected into the 3D life we call, and that we think is real, but it is just a projection of our own inner world, which means that everything is a projection. Every person you ever encounter is something like you created. You can imagine it like a dream. When you dream, and let's say you have an argument with your best friend, you would not be mad at your best friend, because you know it's just a dream. You created that in some way, right? And we could say that what we think is real life is a dream within a dream. It kind of reminds me of the movie Inception, right? Where there's like different layers, and it's hard to know which one is like a dream, which is reality. What we call reality, it is basically a dream. And when we really dream at night, it is a dream within a dream. And I'm pretty sure everyone out there would go with me when I say that when you dream, it is something that your subconscious mind created, right? You would say, yeah, of course. But it's the same with what you call reality. We have created that as well. It is your creation. Every person you encounter, it is something, some assumption that is projected to you on the outside. But what does that have to do with love at first sight and meeting maybe even a soulmate, like a twin flame, or anything else where you have this instant connection? Well, as I said earlier, I don't believe in reincarnation as going throughout the centuries. However, when we see images like that in hypnosis, that is another stream of consciousness that is very similar to our frequency. But again, it is something we created. Everything is us pushed out. So if we go in hypnosis and we see something like that, it is still our creation. However, it is, I believe, another stream of consciousness, or another, you could say, fragment of ourselves experiencing that, and it's more like a symbol to tell you something, maybe what is hidden. But what I now believe reincarnation really is, it is an amazing, interesting thing called quantum immortality. And maybe some of you saw my death series playlist. I know it sounds grim, but it's so freaking interesting, where I collected testimonials of people who experienced themselves dying, for example, in a car crash, and then there was like a rewind, like a glitch in the matrix. Let's say they experienced a car crash, and then there was like a going back in time for a couple of seconds, and the car that crashed into them just went by and the accident didn't happen. Or they jumped a little bit forward in time and all of a sudden found themselves like driving into the driveway at home. They're like, oh my god, they just died. Where did they get here? And somebody who got shot, for example, and then all of a sudden jumped back a couple of minutes and then didn't die. And also I have testimonials of people who have experienced someone passing and then jumping to another timeline where that person didn't pass and they were alive again. So I believe quantum immortality is that we do live the same life over and over and over and over. You may have heard, when there is a decision in your life, and it could be as teeny tiny as being at the bakery and you cannot decide if you want a croissant or the pretzel. In one timeline, you take the croissant and the other one the pretzel. So the universe splits and one version of you goes down that path, another one that path. In one timeline, you successfully manifest your happy end with that person. In another one, you don't, because you're not an energetical match. In one timeline, you get that job. In another one, you don't. Your soul is going through all of the experiences. Your consciousness cannot experience several things at the same time. You cannot consciously experience getting the job and not getting the job. You can only live one life at a time. But when we die, I believe, there's like so many splits happen. It's like a tree, and then there's like twigs, and then from that twig, there's more twigs and more twigs and more twigs. I believe that sometimes, let's take there's like one branch, and let's say even in your earliest childhood, there may have been different outcomes. For example, when you were a baby, your parents either decided to stay where they lived or move to another country, a completely different region. That of course will completely change your life, because you will grow up in a completely different environment. Or in one timeline, your parents stay together, not very happy, and another one they are happy, and another one they split up. So there's 3 different branches already, and then out of that branch there's of course then more splits and more splits and more splits. So sometimes I believe when we pass, we don't go all the way back to the beginning. Sometimes we just, let's say, jump back to the last split and then experience that. That would be those examples I just talked about. And then there was a glitch in the matrix that they accidentally, or maybe not accidentally because everything is finished, remembered that jump. I believe most of the time we don't. So maybe you already passed several times in different timelines and never made it to right here, but now you did. So I believe quantum immortality is living the same life over and over, sometimes just with minor alterations. However, one life to another one can be completely different, as we were just talking about the branches. In one life your parents stayed, in another one they moved somewhere completely else. So that would of course be a major difference. But some may just be like very, very, very minor. As I just said, the tiny example of getting the croissant or pretzel, and your soul will play out both of them. So in one life, and there's infinite lives, obviously there only can be infinite lives if even the tiniest decision is like a split, and then you get to live all of those different experiences. Now, before we continue, it is important that you please like, subscribe, share this video, and leave a comment. What have you learned that is new? All of that will of course help me grow my channel, and it will help you as well, because then I see what kind of videos you like and I can generate more of it. It is important that you check out my other playlists, for example, my Top Secret Tips to Manifest playlist. Those are some tips you won't hear anywhere else. So if you're stuck in your manifestation journey, make sure to find maybe that one tip that helps you to push you forward to your manifestation goal. Also, of course, make sure to check out my other manifestation playlist. And if you're still robotically affirming, boo, boring, make sure to go to my other channel. Link is in the description box below. Janine Nicole, Manifest with Music. Because I decided that it is time to make manifesting fun again. So I generated many songs that you will find sorted into different playlists for different genres or topics, where you can make your own playlist to listen to those songs daily. Those are songs that are fun. Those are affirmation songs and other songs that will get you into the state of the wish fulfilled in order to manifest your desire with fun and ease. I will see you there, but now let's get back to the video. So love at first sight, I believe, is that you are meeting this person and you already lived the exact same life with that person multiple times. And that is where the sense of knowing comes, because you have been through that exact meeting many times already. So you've been, maybe you have sometimes some weird deja vus that you remember something. Often we don't, but you remember them because that person that you fall in love with, you probably have already been in very happy relationships in some lives. In other lives it maybe didn't take off and you have experienced those. Maybe in other lives it took off but then ended, and you know, from all the way not taking off to not being happy to living the best life, you probably have already lived many lives with them. It's just not as I used to think, like in different centuries, but it is exactly the same life where you have your name, you meet under the same circumstances or minor alterations, like a little bit different, and your soul plays out all of these different circumstances. And that, I believe, is the knowing coming from, like you meet someone and you instantly feel like you've known them for forever, because you kinda do. Your soul already played that same life many times. However, you still have free will, because even if everything is determined, because every creation already is finished, one of the paths, of course, is you learning to manifest. I mean, that is why you are on my channel, this video, right? Maybe you want to manifest twin flame union, maybe you just want to learn more about manifesting. So this timeline where you learn about that already exists as well. And so once you learn that you can change your inner beliefs, your assumptions, you change your future, you can go the path, you know, when there's like a split coming, and in that split you won't manifest them right away, because there may be more splits, like more possibilities. There's not one possibility to manifest someone, there's endless possibilities. Even if you have missed already like 10,000 opportunities you can manifest 1,000 more, even more, because as soon as you change on the inside, you get a new opportunity, right? So maybe you manifest not being together now, or when you're going towards here, or you manifest being together. So whatever your assumptions are will determine which of these paths you go, and then of course there is more and more paths. So I believe that is love at first sight. You already lived the same life with them in the same or very similar body that looked the same, maybe a little bit different. Of course, I mean, you also always get to decide, do I cut my hair or not, or you know, whatever. So you may look a little bit different, but it's still the same parents, the same family. However, it could also be different because your family members in some timelines, they are absolutely happy, and in others they're not. So in some they are very much in dark energy, and by dark I don't mean evil, but unhealed and not good parents. In other ones they are. So your soul will make all of the experiences. However, often in those lives we decide that we want to grow, then it is usually the not so good upbringing in the beginning, but then of course you learn about how you can shift and change. So yeah, that is what I now believe love at first sight is. It is the recognition, we have been through this, we have done this, which also means that as soon as you fall in love with someone, there is already the timeline where you have your happy outcome, and it is available for you. It can be manifested. If you need help with that, check out my other playlist, maybe my top secrets playlist to manifest, or my other manifestation playlist, or of course you can reach out for personal coaching. I do see you there. I do see you on my other channel, Janine, Nicole, Manifest with Music, or in my comments, of course. Until then, I do wish you all the best now. Bye bye.